Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 18th chapter, verse number 14. And Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and association, Maharaj. You can please take over.
Thank you. My obeisances to you and all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Gyan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Gunam Vitripyed Rasavit Katayam Mahatma Maikantam Parayanasya Natam Gunanam Gunasya Jagmur Yogeshwarye Bhava Padam Mukaya. Translation: the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who is also known as Govinda, is the exclusive shelter for all great living beings. And his transcendental attributes cannot even be measured by such masters of mystic power as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Can anyone who is expert in relishing nectar, ras, ever be fully satisfied by hearing topics about him? Purport. Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are two chiefs of the demigods. They are full of mystic power. For example, Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison, of which one drop was sufficient to kill an ordinary living being. Similarly, Brahma could create many powerful demigods, including Lord Shiva. So they are Ishwaras, or lords of the universe, but they are not the supreme powerful. The supreme powerful is Govinda, Lord Krishna. He is the transcendence. His transcendental attributes cannot be measured even by such powerful Ishwar as Shiva and Brahma. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the exclusive shelter of the greatest of all living beings. Brahma is so counted among the living beings, but he is the greatest of all of us. And why is the greatest of all living beings so much attached to the transcendental topics of Lord Krishna? Because he is a reservoir of all enjoyment. Everyone wants to relish some kind of taste in everything. One who is engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord can derive unlimited pleasure from such engagement. The Lord is unlimited, and his name, attributes, pastimes, entourage, variegatedness, etc., are also unlimited, and those who relish them can do so unlimitedly and still not feel satiated. This fact is confirmed in Padma Puran. Ramate yoginam nante sadhyananduchit atmani iti rama pradena so param brahma vividyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasure from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Rama. There is no end to such transcendental discourses. In the mundane affair, there is the law of satiation, but in transcendence, there is no such satiation. Sukadeva Goswami desired to continue the topics of Lord Krishna before the sages of Nambisharanya, and the sages also expressed their readiness to hear from him continuously. Since the Lord is transcendence and his attributes are transcendental, such discourses increase the receptive mood of the purified audience. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyanajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschyatyade Satarine Vanchakopa Tarubhascha Vipa Sindhu Pevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the scientists and many of the modern day thinkers, plan makers, can do so many extraordinary things in manipulating the material energy. They can create gigantic aircrafts that can fly hundreds of miles in the air at thousands and thousands of feet high. But can they float a planet in space? Krishna can. He simply glances over a planet and it floats automatically. They call that the law of gravity, but actually that's one of the qualities of Krishna, that he can defy all natural laws simply by his own unlimited power. The scientists make these big planes, but can they make a little tiny insect that has full body, has ears, nose, everything there, and it can fly through the air and can create another body? Can the scientists make a body that creates more bodies? They're trying, but that's all they can do is try. And here, even the comparison is to great personalities. Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison. And, Lord Brahma, he has the power to create the material bodies. But he gets his power from Krishna. Tene Brahma Ida Adikabaye. That Krishna appears in the heart of Brahma and instructs him and guides him in how to do his service of creation. So he is the original creator and Brahma is the secondary creator. But Brahma gets his power from Krishna. When Hiranyakashipu, he was formidable. The demigods were running in fear simply by his raising of his eyebrows. They became so fearful of him that they had to leave their abodes in the heavenly planets. And he became so powerful that he would, defy any of the personalities in existence. Of course, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva didn't deal with him directly because they knew Krishna was going to deal with him, and Narada Muni either. But all of the 33 million demigods were fearful of Hiranyakashipu. But to speak of their collective power together still, Hiranyakashipu was very powerful. But when the Lord wanted to eliminate him, it became very easy. He simply kept all the benedictions that were given to Hiranyakashipu by Lord Brahma for remaining free from death, but at the same time, he arranged to kill him at the same time. The Lord is so intelligent that people think they can outsmart the Lord by their plans or by whatever things they create. But the Lord is always ahead of everyone because he knows past, present, and future, and all parasya shakti vidhaya suyate. Energy is one of the features of power, and he has all energies under his control at all time. So there are many powerful personalities in the world, and some so extraordinarily powerful that cannot be even understood. But compared to Krishna, there's no one even coming close. Why? Because he is the source of all existence. And therefore, his sweet side, that is his pastimes in Vrindavan, is so, what we say, powerful, spiritually powerful, that one who develops the practice of hearing regularly these pastimes can never stop hearing them. They can never become satiated. In the material world, when you do something, you don't become satisfied, but you become satiated. You become full in the activity, but you still have the desire to, you don't feel happy, you don't feel satisfied by the activity. So in the material world, there is satiation, but no satisfaction. But hearing Krishna's pastimes, one never gets satiated, but they're always satisfied at all times. Even a small amount of hearing will bring about satisfaction, peace of mind, happiness, and awareness of the Supreme Lord, because those pastimes, activities of the Lord, are as good as he is. They're non-different than him, and they have all of they're rasavaisai. They contain all of the qualities of the Lord. And that is the absolute nature of spiritual, and it's very much full in Krishna. And that his pastimes are so unlimitedly attractive that we see that Ananta Shesh is one of the expansions of Sankarshan. Sankarshan is an expansion of Lord Balaram. Balaram is an expansion of Lord Krishna. So Ananta Shesh he's a multi-headed snake. He is actually keeping all of the universes floating simply by his mystic power, where he carries all these universes on his hoods. And he has so many hoods, at the same time there are many, many millions of universes, and he doesn't even know how many universes are there. And it says that he chants the glories of the Lord continuously. And he has been doing it since time immemorial, and he never repeats the same glory twice. Now here's an example, as explained by the personality of Godhead himself in the form of Ananta Shesh, that person who is the source of Ananta Shesh is way beyond Ananta Shesh. And there's so many examples. So devotees look for satisfaction and happiness in activities they perform. And no one wants to feel tired when they get involved in some activity. But we're limited, and we can only experience something to a certain degree, and the thing we experience is also limited. Just like the process of eating, you may have some favorite foodstuffs that you look forward to eat, but then how much can you eat before you get tired of it, or before it does not any longer satisfy you? That's the nature of material, and that's the nature of material experience. It's all limited. But in Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, on the spiritual platform, we have the example of Maharaj Pariksit. He never got tired of hearing from Sukadeva Goswami the glories of the Lord. And he listened for 7 full days without deviating his attention even for a moment. He became so absorbed. And he became fully self-realized simply by that narration. He understood that he is also of the same nature. And that although he was cursed to die, he knew that he doesn't die. He knows that he will go on to his next destination, but the body will eventually leave at a certain point. Every intelligent person knows that the body is temporary, but I am not the body, so therefore, even though the body leaves, I go somewhere else to take on either another body or to be free from all material bodies and go back to the spiritual world where one receives a spiritual body that is similar to Krishna in the sense that it's pure spiritual and it has all good qualities, beauty, prowess, strength, eternality, unlimited knowledge, and unlimited happiness. So these things are all available through the process of Shravanam Kirtanam. So the scriptures say, Satam prasangam mama virya sambido bhavanti rit karne rasayana katana josinat tat pravartmani bhaktir ratir anukramishyati. That this is the beginning. This verse says this is the beginning of devotional life when one becomes engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. And then from that beginning, one moves forward to more and more realization of the nature of the absolute truth. At the same time, experiencing unlimited happiness by hearing the activities of the Lord, whether in any of the manifestation of his incarnations are attractive, but especially attractive is his feature as Krishna, because in that particular form, he exhibits all of his transcendental qualities in a mood of exchange between his pure devotees, where he takes the position of being either equal or subordinate to his devotees and reciprocates their loving relationship in various forms, such as friendship, madhurya ras, or sweet ras, that is conjugal love, or parental affection, and just service. All of the 5 rasas are there in the spiritual world. So this is the essence of Krishna consciousness. That there's the word relish is a nice word. There's a foodstuff that's made from pickles that they sell in the stores. It's called relish. There's different kinds of relish, and they mix it with different kinds of spices to make it even more tasty and variegatedness. And when you take it and you add it to some of your foodstuffs, it enhances the quality of that food accordingly. Now, in the same way, when we want to enhance the quality of life, we add that relish of transcendental nectar, which is the activities of the Lord with his devotees in different relationships. And here, this verse, Ramate yoginam nante sadhananda chitit atmani iti ram prade naso param brahma vidiyate. Now this confirms that there is unlimited joy in hearing the pastimes of the Lord. And those who take the opportunity, and that's why one of the most important activities in devotional service is to associate with devotees and hear the glories of the Lord, which are unlimited. We were just traveling in different places, and devotees, I was asking devotees, what would you like to hear as a topic of discussion? And each time people said, well, tell us about Krishna's pastimes. So that became the topic of narration. And his pastimes have so many aspects to it. They're humorous. They're very instructive for our own spiritual benefit. And they go deep into the mood of compassion, into the mood of conflict, and so many qualities and characteristics of life's interchangeable aspects, what people do on different levels at different times with with other people, is all there in Krishna's pastimes. But it is there's no inebrities in there. Inebrities means that there is no flaws. Everything is perfect. One cannot imagine, and one can't even begin to imagine what it's like in the spiritual world, when devotees in the spiritual world exchange loving relationship with Krishna. What is that? What is that experience? What is that all about? Why does it look like normal, but at the same time it's super normal? It's way beyond normality. Because it expresses the highest aspect of devotion, where everyone is trying to give happiness to another by their own activities, and therefore everyone is feeling unlimited happiness. And when you add the element of relationship to that process, that happiness becomes fully manifested in its ultimate principle of happiness. So this is Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, over and over in this particular purport, just everyone wants to relish some kind of taste in everything, but one who is engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord can derive unlimited pleasure. And the word unlimited is not just a word just to add to the sentence to make it exciting. It's actually true in the real sense of the term, that there's no limit to the pleasure one can derive. That's mentioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, in the first verse of the Shikshastika. He says that happiness is like an ocean. No one can reach the end of an ocean. No one can swim across the ocean. No one can even go down to the depths of the ocean. And the ocean is so vast in all aspects of itself. So that there is a loving ocean given by the Lord in his relationship with his devotees, where those who contact the Lord, that contact awakens that loving emotion that is unlimited within the heart of the living entity. And so to hear and chant the glories of the Lord in the association of devotees is the highest manifestation of spiritual attainment. And that's what the spiritual world is about. So we have a chance to bring the spiritual world, at least to some degree, to the material world through this process. And here we say Krishna is so powerful that there's nothing he can't do. Prabhupada was talking about this one time in a very august assembly. A group of very intellectual people came to see Prabhupada in London, it was. And they were part of a society. And their business as a society was to pick topics that are very difficult to understand and then discuss them. And they're more like armchair philosophers. So when Prabhupada was speaking, Prabhupada came to the point of saying there's the Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna, and there's nothing he can't do. There's nothing beyond his power. And then one of the participants in the society said, well, he came up with a trick question. He said, if there's nothing he can't do, can he create a rock he can't lift? So the question is, like, if you say yes, that means that limits his lifting power, and if you say no, that limits his creating power. So Prabhupada, they try to fool the pure devotee, but the pure devotee has all knowledge. So the Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna can create a rock he can't lift, and then he'll lift it. And then he'll create the power to lift it afterwards. So there's no limit to Krishna. And those who try to come up with ideas that Krishna is limited, people think because Krishna doesn't work according to their plan, that he doesn't have the power. Just like there was this famous book that was the bestseller in America for many, many years. It probably was one of the biggest bestsellers ever. This was back in the 1960s, where this one rabbi, He was a a Jewish priest, rabbi, and he had a son that was born with a very rare disease, which is called progeria. Now, progeria takes one through their whole life quickly. In other words, the aging process is rapidly advancing a person. So the boy died of old age at the age of 14. He lived for 14 years, and old age caught him in 14 years. So, I mean, that's a very rare disease. And so he was thinking, well, this boy, he's an innocent boy. What has he done to deserve this situation? So, being a man of God, he didn't give up the idea of God, but he simply questions God's power. And he wrote the book. Well, yes, God is all good, but he's not all powerful. Therefore, there are so many things going on in existence that he can't manage everything at the same time. So therefore he misses something. So sometimes some good people experience something bad because he's not able to get there in time. So this was the premise that the book was based on. It's called theodicy. The Christians actually adopt this term, is why does God not correct all of the faults in the world? They try to understand why God is not there when so-called innocent people or so-called, young people have to go through so much suffering. So the conclusion was, yes, God is not, he's not all powerful. But one of our senior devotees actually was Ravinda Sarup Prabhu. He wrote a rebuttal article, which was quite lengthy, saying that God is all good and he's all powerful, but we can't see that what is the activities of a person in their previous life that causes them to get reactions in the present life. So then he explained the law of karma and how karma catches up with a person after due course of time. Because there's different types of karma, and some karma is instant and some karma is delayed. And so in delayed karma, it may also manifest later on in one's future life. For instance, when Dhritarashtra, after losing the battle and losing 100 sons, and he came to Krishna and he said, Krishna, can you tell me my karma? I had 100 sons and they were all killed in the battlefield. I was born blind. What was my karma? And Krishna explained. He said, yes, you were a hunter and you shot a flaming arrow into the nest of 100 birds. All the birds died in the fire, and the mother bird somehow got away, but she was blinded by the fire. Then the Lord said, and that happened 50 lives ago. So Dhritarashtra accepted what the Lord said, but then he was questioning, why did it take 50 lives for me to get this reaction of my karma? And the Lord said, it took you 50 lives to build up enough good karma to have 100 sons. And then when you were able to pay back the dues, the karma cashes in, and therefore things happen. So karma is like that. Something we've done in previous lives may manifest in a later life. It happens quite often like that. But we can't see that. So that was the answer to this particular insinuation that God is not all powerful, but he is all powerful. The living entity gets his reactions according to the time period that allows for that reaction to manifest. And that's a whole science, the science of karma, how it begins, how it develops, how it manifests, how it's destroyed before it manifests, how it's destroyed after it manifests. It's a very intricate science, the science of karma. And Krishna, when he talks about karma, he says it's too difficult to explain, it's too difficult to understand. He doesn't really get into the details, but we understand the principle behind karma, that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, like that. So God is all powerful, but he works according to the laws of material nature and to give people the reactions of their activities. So no one can complain that God is, what we say, unfair or not responsible or not with you. Everything is happening accordingly. And if one wants to get out of that cycle of suffering, then one has to take to devotional service. Then they fall under the direct mercy of the Lord instead of the mercy of the material energy, which is not very merciful. As long as we opt to accept the material energy as our deity, in other words, we worship the material energy for our happiness and for our security in this world, and we neglect the real source of security and happiness, which is Krishna, then Krishna will allow us to take shelter of that false deity. He doesn't interfere with our independence, and we get reactions accordingly. Material energy will give you the reactions of your activities until you wake up and come to Krishna consciousness, and then all of these things are, what we say, gradually destroyed, and then one reaches a point where there is no more material karma left, and one can experience the happiness of devotional service continuously. Okay, so we'll stop there.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for such a wonderful class. Very nice points you mentioned. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead. Amritanam Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, we know that Krishna has 64 qualities. Vishnu has 60 qualities. Shiva has 54 qualities. And Brahma has 50 qualities. So I was wondering that Brahma being the creator of Shiva, how does Shiva has more qualities than Brahma?
Shiva's in his own category. Brahma is still a jiva. Jivas have 50 of the qualities of the Lord. But Shiva he is Shiva Shakti, he is Mahadev. He's on another level. He is actually, in one sense, non-different than Vishnu, but at the same time different. To study the qualities of Lord Shiva, you find that he has that particular power given to him by the Supreme Lord. He's in charge of the mode of ignorance. Yeah, so yeah, Shiva appeared from the anger of Lord Brahma when the 4 Kumaras refused to listen to Lord Brahma and decided not to take up Grihastha life and remain brahmacharis. Brahma wanted them to propagate the universe. They wanted to remain brahmacharis, so they refused the instructions of their father. Brahma became angry, and that anger manifested in the form of Rudra, which is Lord Shiva. So yeah, it's not that Shiva was born of Brahma, but he appeared within the what we say the material realm through the anger of Lord Brahma. Shiva is a post. In the spiritual world, there is Sada Shiva, there is the original Shiva. he has a planet in the Vaikuntha realm also. He appears in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes as a combination form of Mahavishnu and Shiva as Sri Advaita Acharya. Very powerful.
Thank you. So, Shiva wasn't born, he appeared.
Yeah, he appeared. Yeah, he's not a created being also.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
there's a Shiva in every universe. There's a Brahma in every universe also.
Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, I have a question before others raise their hands. I request devotees, if you have any questions, please raise your hand or you can unmute and ask. Maharaj, when you are talking about that we have this limited degree of satiation or interest towards these spiritual topics or Krishna Katha. So will there be, like, as we are conditioned souls, will it remain like that only, or we'll be able to reach to a particular stage where we'll be able to get unlimited relishment or unlimited
Not in the material realm, but in the spiritual.
Mm.
Yeah. In the spiritual, it's unlimited because the soul is unlimited. The soul is part and parcel of Krishna. The soul is pure spirit. So material happiness is based on the body, which is limited, and also turns into suffering at one point. So we say chant and be happy. There's a way to taste the happiness that is there in the spiritual world through the holy name, through glorification of the Lord, through service to the Lord. It's not only unlimited, it's also variegated too.
So whatever we are getting here is the glimpse of the unlimited
it's a shadow.
shadow.
Material happiness is not real. It's just a relief from suffering. That's all.
Mm.
If you analyze material happiness, it's just a relief from suffering. We suffer because we have a material body. We're living in a material world. We cannot fulfill our desires. We get some fulfillment at one point in our existence and we feel happy, but that happiness is just a step up from our miserable conditions. So real happiness comes from within, not based on any external arrangement. Real happiness is in the heart. So, and the closest thing in the material world to real happiness is relationships that are ideal. So where is the ideal relationship? Where do you find that? Prabhupada said the ideal relationship is a mother's love for her child, where the mother has so much love for the child that it doesn't matter what the child does, the love is never changed or never lessened. That's the closest thing to real love in this world. Because real love is selfless. It's not based on what I can get. It's based on what I can give. And in giving, we get. So in the spiritual world, it's all based on giving. But when we give to Krishna, he reciprocates and we get knowledge, we get happiness, we get freedom from material suffering.
Mm.
There's a nice book. It's if you want to understand material happiness, it's by Candramauli Swami. It's called Hiding in Unnatural Happiness. It's a small book. He just takes the different ways that people try to be happy in this world and shows by analysis that it all leads to the same goal. What we say, disappointment, frustration. the thing that makes you happy the most in life will be gone at one point, and then therefore you suffer more. The more you're attached to something in this world, when you lose it, the more you suffer.
Okay.
That's why we have to detach ourselves from everything in this world, do our duty, but become attached to Krishna. Then there's no question of loss, because our relationship with Krishna is never lost at all. It's only increasing through the process of bhakti. But if we say we love somebody so much in this world, we can't live without him. But then at one point, that love will be gone, that person will be gone or will be gone. So what is the feeling when that loss comes? It's like being hit with a mountain, you know? So that suffering will happen like that. Because everything in this world will at one point be gone. We will also be gone too, in our material sense. So don't put, that's why they say, the Bible says, don't put your treasure in a place that could be eaten by moths, corroded by rust, or stolen by thieves. Put your treasure in your heart and put your heart in the kingdom of God. So everything in this world is temporary and fraught with what we say, inebrities. Romeo and Juliet, the big hero, right? What happens? They commit suicide at the end. The love ends in suicide. I know people who have lost their loved one 20 years ago and they still can't get over it. They're still hanging on to the memories of that person. They can't move on. Because that attachment becomes so strong that when it's lost, it's like it's the worst possible thing. There seems to be, therefore you get attached to Krishna, you'll never go through that experience because you can never lose Krishna, and Krishna will never let you go anyway once you get attached to him.
Maharaj, on this point of relationships, so these material relationships are temporary, we know that, but it's very hard to get detached. But over the years, suppose kids grow up and they have their own families and we try to detach, but when we replace these relationships with Krishna's relationship, then will not be any less for this. I don't know how to put the question, but
We haven't experienced what it means to be with Krishna. That's why we can't understand it. The happiness that comes with association with the Lord is not describable by words.
Yeah.
All the senses become automatically enlivened simultaneously.
Yeah, that's what we don't understand. Really, suppose in this material world, whatever happening around us, we can easily imagine and we can easily understand. But when we're talking about the spiritual world in the books, in Bhagavatam, then we're not able to imagine what exactly the taste will be, how exactly we'll be with Krishna. So it's very hard to realize and visualize, Maharaj. So that's why maybe we are not getting attached to that particular relationship, I feel.
Even if you can't visualize it or realize it, you should know it's true. That's
the point. Yeah. We understand that it's true because it is coming from acharyas.
And it's also being experienced by people. It's something that is just, only in the books. There are people who are having these experiences with Krishna.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We have faith on acharyas.
Meet them also.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
We'll talk about that in our upcoming seminar in Italy. Because there is an element of that which I'll get into about the unlimited happiness that is available through the process of bhakti. And we'll get into the details of that unlimited happiness, how it manifests, and how you can actually move into that through your process of, worship. we're just standing on the shore of the ocean of bhakti, and we're getting a little toe wet. That's all.
Mm.
We haven't even begun to dive in yet.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Just picking up from the question that Srimati just asked, I was thinking about the process of devotional service and how, as we get more and more attached to Krishna, we get more and more detached from our relationships and jobs and people and so on and so on. And then when they notice those changes in us, they say, oh, you don't care about us anymore. You're not enjoying with us like before. You're not doing things with us like before, because obviously we are now getting attracted to something better. So then they end up thinking this Krishna consciousness means people become indifferent to a family. Krishna takes away our family members through this process of devotional service, and they express all kinds of disappointment because we cannot enjoy the things now that they continue to so-called enjoy.
Misery loves company.
Okay, I've got my answer. I prefer to be happy.
Don't become too happy because you'll leave us and we're miserable. So we need you to be miserable with us, Yes, we haven't. Yeah, what did Prabhupada tell us the story, What was that? One preacher was talking to one drunk, and he said, the guy was drinking. He said, if you drink, you'll go to hell. The man said, yes, but my wife drinks. She'll go to hell. And my uncle, he drinks. He'll go to hell. My father, he drinks. He'll go to hell. Oh, great. We'll all be in hell together. It'd be like heaven.
They'll all party in the hell.
No way, Guru Maharaj. No way. Can't go back now.
Yeah, misery loves company.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any questions or comments? Please go ahead. Yeah.
One should not hate illumination when it comes.
Mm.
And sometimes when you get illumination, then you start to realize, whoa, now I have to, I understand that what I've been doing before is a waste of time. So people say, oh no, don't take it away from me. That happens to us sometimes. We get some experience and we just look back at how we're living and we think, my God. Then we think, this experience is not really good. It's threatening my material life.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I've over the years, obviously, with life's experiences, I've lost that taste for what most people would call material happiness and material striving. But at the same time, I'm finding it difficult to find that taste for Krishna all the time, to connect.
Sadhu Sangha, association with advanced devotees will bring about. That's where it lies. In the association of devotees, especially those who are advanced. They'll give you knowledge, they'll give you direction, they'll help you experience the happiness of the process of devotional service. Try to do it on our own or without proper association, it becomes slow, or even sometimes it feels like it's not moving at all. It's all based on association.
And Maharaj, I think the other day you answered Vrindavanath Prabhu's question. And I think you Vrindavanath Prabhu's question.
Okay.
I think you said that association doesn't necessarily have to be physical. I think you said it's the words that matter. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's there too. That's Vani and Vapu. Vani is higher, Vani is worse. So if you read and absorb what Prabhupada is giving us, you can also experience a transcendental, what we say, change in your consciousness. But when you're in association with devotees and you're all together doing it, it's like, what they call it, rocket. It's like a rocket then. It's not slow anymore. So yeah, the associate. That's why devotees who had association with Prabhupada, when Prabhupada left, some of them it was like the worst thing that could happen to them. They had a hard time going on because of that association with such a powerful personality. It was so endearing and so all encompassing. Prabhupada could, just by his presence, change the whole atmosphere. You could feel that the atmosphere was actually becoming, what we say, vibrant with spiritual energies by Prabhupada's presence. But, and then there are devotees who can do that now also by their association. Because one who's fully engaged in devotional service, they carry Krishna within their heart. And when you associate with them, you get the chance to associate more and more with Krishna through their association.
Can we always have your association, please, Maharaj? Always.
You coming to the Italy?
No, I'm not, Maharaj. No.
Come. I'm encouraging everyone to come because it'll be a nice experience. And from London to Italy is like just a quick flight.
Bit difficult because of my health issues.
Well, take a chance. Anyway, we don't want you to take a chance anyway, and anyway, sometimes we have to step out of our little, what we say, cocoon to get a broader experience. Or what you can do at home is just start your own home programs and start inviting devotees over and invite them to come and give class and have kirtan, distribute prasadam. That's recommended by each and every person who lives within the house, is to arrange for programs to happen where they can associate with devotees and give other people a chance to become Krishna conscious. Like Vrindavan Nath, for sure. I spent like a month in his place during the month of February, the whole month, the end of January, and every Friday we were having a program at his home, and people were coming. There was sometimes, I think we have, what's her name, Sukhabaha share. She was online. She used to come to the program sometimes, and other devotees too. And there was a wonderful kirtan, discussion, nice prasadam, and it was like devotees were going away really happy, buying books. And so that's what we need to do. We need to keep that association going on whatever level we are be able to do it. So if we have a house, we live in a house, then we have the facility to do something. And if you start something, you'll find that it'll have some effect. And after some time, if you keep it going, then it starts to grow. More people come, you develop more relationships with devotees, and you can share Krishna consciousness more. You actually make friends. Meet people who you actually can resonate with, who you can talk to, you can have a relationship with. But it's all centered around Krishna consciousness. It's nice. It's a family. Even though we can't travel out, we can still do something on the local level.
Yes, Maharaj. We're going to Sukava Mataji's house on Saturday.
Nice. She has nice programs.
Yes.
Very nice. I like going to her house. It's one of them. I know I'm going to get good prasadam and too much of it too, but anyway, it's just the way it is. But it's nice. There's a nice ambience there, and there's a lot of young people who come to her program. So the energy is real nice.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you and your service, Maharaj. My humble obeisances to all of the devotees. Very much. Sometimes we are advised by devotees, sometimes advised, sometimes suggested, sometimes even instructed to keep up with news and current affairs. And for some of us, I have no desire to read news or watch news. So how important is it that we do these things?
The $64 question here. I mean, when Prabhupada was during World War II, or right around that time, he was writing his Back to Godhead newsletter. It was only 1 or 2 pages, but he was also commenting on the world affairs, but connecting it with the Krishna consciousness. The thing is, it shouldn't take away from your Krishna consciousness. And a lot of stuff you hear is also just propaganda anyway. You don't even know if it's true. Because I know that the media will give you what they want to give you, even if it's not true. They want to give you a certain angle on how you should see things. So they only tell you the news is filtered. The mainstream news is highly filtered. And I have testimony from a person who lived in the news world, was a major reporter for the New York Times. And when he retired, he gave his retirement speech to many of his former colleagues. And he basically said, we are all prostitutes. We can't even write what we want. We're simply we have to follow the, what is allowed, or they don't print it. And if you continue to do that, you have to, and people break away to start their own, and still you're not. So anything material is always subject to different interpretations. But like every once in a while, I'll look, I'll check out the scene. I don't really check out the scene. Sometimes people send me things about what's happening in the world. I read it. And I use it as an opportunity to preach Krishna consciousness. But it doesn't affect you, because as long as you stay engaged in devotional service, you're somewhat sheltered from all of the effects that happen around the material world. I mean, the devotees are affected to some degree. You can't help it, because as long as you have some connection with the material energy, you're going to get some effect. Such as, when prices go up, you you find yourself being stretched, when there's wars in the world, and and it also affects people on different levels. So, but that's endless, and you can never come to the end of that. You never come up with any conclusion. So I would say, if you want to, check it out every once in a while, that's something you can choose, but I wouldn't make it a habit, nor would I let it interfere with my devotional practice. Because I know certain devotees can fall into it, and then they get so absorbed in it that they actually start seeing Krishna consciousness in a very mundane way. You have to be careful.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Maharaj, I have a question from yesterday's class I couldn't ask. So yesterday, when you are talking about we have to ask questions to a sadhu, get us association, they'll be very happy to answer. So, but when we see like here for the visiting Maharajas or the brahmacharis or any senior devotees, so I feel shy, like being in the female body, I'll not be able to sometimes go to them and ask questions. But usually I don't see any Matajis going and asking anything. They just listen to the class and go away. So how to develop this inhibition? So come out of this inhibition and ask boldly, and also encourage others also, Matajis,
Yeah,
to.
we have senior ladies in our movement who are fixed in devotional service, who know the scriptures, who can answer questions also.
Mhm.
So you can just note your questions, and you might not be able to get their direct association, but you can also write, and you can write to your spiritual master.
Mhm.
He's not going to discriminate
Yes.
based on the body. Or usually we find someone in our local area who is senior that we can go to and ask these questions.
Mm.
Devotees should have someone who they can approach for whatever questions they want to ask. Everyone should have someone
Mm.
like that. So yeah, we can understand that. Yeah, there are classes that I give that I know at the end of the class, people have questions, but they don't ask it. They're too shy, or they feel if they're going to ask a question, people are going to laugh at them, or they feel like their question might be, not very good or whatever, different.
Mm.
But if you have any doubts and you need something clarified, that's why it says in that verse, Tadvidi pratipratena paripastyena sevaya upadeksyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. One should approach the spiritual master, inquire and ask questions, but be really willing to offer service also.
Mm.
That's what the spiritual master there, that's what the senior devotees, they love to help devotees. They find that they get very great satisfaction if they can preach or enlighten people in Krishna consciousness.
Mm.
So if you can't do it with, someone in a male body, then find someone in a female body who you can do it. There are such ladies.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hari Hari.
Hey. Vrindavanath, please go ahead. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you're on mute. Okay. while he comes back, Maharaj, do we get human reactions for animal harm? Maharaj, as you are talking about the Thrashtra story, like he killed the birds and he got the reaction.
Do we get reactions from what?
From the animal killing, human reactions like that opposite. So he killed the birds, but he lost his human sons, right? So
all living entities are parts and parcel. No one has any right to take anyone's life. Only God has that right. Under certain conditions, killing is allowed, but that's also mentioned in Shastra, and not simply because one finds himself in a certain situation and they want to do it. No. Yeah. Even if you are not engaged in devotional service, if you're stepping on ants, or if you are painting the wall and you paint over a bug or something, you have to pay for that. There's a reaction for that.
okay, Maharaj. Yeah.
But if you're engaged in devotional service, then these reactions don't happen. But still, no one can cause harm to anyone and expect that it's permissible. It's not. There's always a reaction.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Vrindavan Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Sorry, I had some technical problem. I don't know why I lost this. So, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, as you mentioned that we are just on the shore of ocean of this bhakti, means not getting really the true taste. And if I see myself in this service, then it's still a long way to go. And I'm trying one thing from last few days, that remember Lord before, during, and after any activity. But really, most of the time, I will accept I'm feeling miserably. So how to really work on this, Maharaj? I really want to work on this, that remember Lord as much as possible. Not only in the difficult time, but in the every activity time.
It usually depends on our rounds in the morning. If we have good rounds, then that consciousness of remembering Krishna carries on throughout the day. It becomes easier and less effortless. It becomes easier. Then when you start to do things, you start remembering Krishna easily. So the strength of your sadhana sets the foundation for your consciousness throughout the day. And when you practice that regularly, then it becomes natural to remember Krishna. It becomes easy. And we keep pictures all over, just like I'm looking at a beautiful picture of Sri Radharaman from Ujjain right now as I look at the screen at the same time. Beautiful deities. Radharani is so gorgeous. And Krishna is so debonair. And they're dressed so nicely. So that's remembering Krishna, just looking at a picture of Krishna, chanting his name, reading a book. But if our sadhana is weak, then we find it more of a struggle and the mind becomes easily distracted. Strong sadhana really helps to focus the mind. So just work on your sadhana, that's all.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
And then
Hare Krishna.
there's advanced forms of sadhana where you can develop a more deeper connection with Krishna through these more advanced forms of sadhana. Now we'll explain that when it comes to the that's called Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous attraction for Krishna, which is the next step after Vaidhi Bhakti. I was listening to Prabhupada yesterday. He was saying, we have to come to spontaneous attracting to Krishna, otherwise we haven't completed the process. Raganuga Bhakti is, he said that is actually the goal. Natural, spontaneous attraction. So Vaidhi Bhakti establishes us and develops us, but at one point, when Vaidhi Bhakti becomes mature in its development, one starts to want to go farther in devotional service, and then they take up the process of Raganuga Bhakti. Shiva Ram Maharaj has written 2 books. One is called Spontaneous Devotional Service. The other one is called Further Knowledge in Spontaneous Devotional Service. It's the second book, which just came out about a month ago. To help devotees understand that, just rules and regulations are a means to get you started in Krishna consciousness. Because it's meant to help awaken that attraction for Krishna, which is natural. And there's a way to awaken it, and that is called Raganuga Sadhana. And so one has to see and work under the guidance of the spiritual master and gradually move towards that position. And we are attracted to Krishna sometimes very naturally, and sometimes we forget about him. That means that our devotional service is still intermittent because the mind is not developed to the stage of what we say fixation on Krishna, but it can become fixed. It does become fixed as we practice our sadhana.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hare
So
Krishna.
when you come to Italy, we'll be discussing that.
Sure. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, any questions or comments? Amrita Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much. Quick question, Guru Maharaj. When we do deity worship, sometimes we are quite involved with the certain way of offerings to to deities. Maybe we have seen that right from our childhood, or can be any reasons. But changing them ritualistically becomes really mechanical sometimes. So is that recommended that we can stick to what our, when we get emotionally absorbed with the previous practices we do?
Well, as long as it's not contrary to the process of the deity worship, if it works, if it's in line with the process of deity worship, fine. The idea is to offer the activities according to how it's supposed to be offered. And there's a wrong way of doing it, there's a right way of doing it. Pancharatriki Vidhi, or deity worship, is quite precise. So what you learned in growing up in the family, some of it might be good and some of it might be just, some village adaptations that people add to it. So that's why you read the books and find out exactly how to do it, ask the questions like that. I mean, when it comes to deity worship, it's quite precise on how it should go on,
Following Pancharatriki Vidhi.
Yeah, just like when you offer the articles, each of the articles is offered a certain amount of circles in different places on the transcendental body of the Lord. It's not that all the articles are offered in the same way, they're offered differently.
Yes.
And if you're actually doing deity worship in the temple, then you have the mantras that accompany the activities also. You have the mula mantras, Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little science. It's fun to learn.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Maharaj.
Okay,
Yes,
so
Maharaj, thank you so much. Dear devotees, any last minute questions or comments? Yes, Maharaj.
tomorrow won't be here.
Yes, Maharaj.
Friday, we should be back for our regular class. And
Yes.
Saturday is Charlotte.
Yeah.
Sunday, I'll be absorbing kirtan the whole day, so I won't be there on Sunday. Monday is another travel day. Tuesday, I'll be back for class. Wednesday, I have to travel again. And Thursday should be okay. And Friday, we leave for Italy. That's my schedule for the next 8 or 9 days.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Noted. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, well, you have so many nice devotees who can speak the philosophy.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time and association today and for the class and for nice question answer session. Thank you, devotees, for participating. We'll end the call here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Right.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.